Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We got some news from Belarus, from their president, Viktor Lukashenko, and he makes some claims that might be misinterpreted. But let's see what this gentleman, is saying. Now, this article comes from the Daily Beast. Somehow they got this news from July 5, 2022. This is the title. Putin's pal drops menacing hint, and I'm quoting, a cleansing is coming for Europe, end quote. Now, what kind of cleansing? We want to use water hose, or what kind of cleansing are we talking about here? Let's see. Russian President Vladimir Putin's key ally, Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, has started hinting at what may be next in Russia's war, and it doesn't sound pretty. Lukashenko claimed this weekend that he thinks it's time for Europe to face a quote-unquote moral cleansing, end quote. And I'm quoting again. The time has come for the forgetful Europe to go itself a moral cleansing, to give itself a moral cleansing, Lukashenko said, without going into further detail about what that would entail. Um, Lukashenko mentioned that efforts to fight Nazis from World War II, or what Russia calls the Great Patriotic War, are not over yet, echoing Arena's Russian claims that they are waging war in Ukraine in order to denazify or fight Nazis in Ukraine. And here it's again a quote from Mr. Lukashenko. It is a way to destroy the Slavic ethos, cultures, and entire nations. Today we often say that this war is not over yet. Lukashenko said, it is not over yet because not everyone who was involved in the monstrous act of the war has been punished. That war is not over yet because once again, as at the front line, we are defending our historical memory. All right, his plans for a quote-unquote cleansing in Europe coincide with Lukashenko's claim that Ukraine is escalating tensions with Belarus. Lukashenko claimed Sunday that Ukraine forces fired missiles at Belarus, which he says the Belarusian army successfully shot down. And again, I'm quoting, we are being provoked, he said, without providing evidence that the missiles had indeed targeted Belarusian military posts. They are still trying to drag us into a war in Ukraine. The goal is to get rid of both Russia and Belarus at one fling. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about this. I don't know if it's going to say anything more about. No, he said we don't need the war. I don't know if that was if it was a false flag operation over there or didn't even happen. I'm talking about the Ukrainians allegedly shelling Belarusian territory. But nevertheless, what could Mr. Zelensky, I was about to say, Lukashenko might hint? What could he mean by moral cleansing? So he talks about the Nazis in Ukraine. Okay, there is some evidence that there were some people associated with the Azov battalion who had some ideologies related to that ideology. Now we don't know if those guys are still there or not. Zelensky and his buddies say that no, they're gone, but we don't know that. That's the first thing. The second thing, are those guys in Western Europe? No, I don't have any evidence for that. There might be some people in the Western Europe, and I'm talking about 2, 3 capitals. I'm not talking about Romania and other little, bottom feeder countries. But let's say I would put Great Britain in Europe, even though some of them don't even put themselves in Europe. But you know what I mean? That's what I read a long time ago about Great Britain, and say, you know what, they don't even claim that they're part of Europe because they're not a continental Europe and they're something separate. Some say yes, some say no. So nevertheless, I would consider them being, obviously over there. So Great Britain, that's one Then you get Germany. I don't know about Germany. Germany wants a hegemony in in Europe. Great Britain would not allow it. Obviously, that's why they shot themselves in the foot. I'm talking about Germany. And there are some other ones that want to, again, it's France who wants the same thing as Germany, but France doesn't have the power, economic power of Germany, and Napoleon is dead for a long time, so that's something that's gone. So what ideology could be? Could be a fight against the Slavic people. I don't think it's about the Slavic people per se, even though from what I read, there are some ideologies who think, oh yeah, like the other ideology, remember, the Nazi ideology, categorizing people on, superior, inferior, like generalization and so on. But that's not about that. He looks at it, and some Russians are looking at this as a um, war of how to put it, elimination waged by the Western countries. They don't look at Spain. They look at America, the United States of America, and Great Britain mostly, who they think that are trying the Anglo-Saxon countries, and they don't put inside Germany yet, because Germany is, to be honest, is still under occupation. Is 70,000 American troops are over there. They can't have this. They can't do this. And always when they try to do something, is the blaming game about, hey, remember what happened 70 years ago? Okay, but do you remember what happened 20 years ago in Iraq? So if you go by that, you know, everybody can point fingers at everybody. So could be a that kind of morality that he's talking about. Anglo-Saxons versus Russia, which is strong. If Russia would be weak, they would be friends forever. Friends, you know what I mean? But maybe Lukashenko, which Putin talked about a lot, maybe they have something else in mind. Like, for instance, they have in mind the destruction of the family, the ideology of identity, identity politics, victimhood mentality, all these things that are very dangerous, I would say, when they're not balanced. I put nice words, euphemisms. Um, they could end up in what they say over there. Would be an extreme. If you're always a victim and you want something back all the time, you want, okay, you owe me something, and then obviously if you owe me something, you're guilty. But how long are you guilty? For how long? I mean, the Germans have been guilty for what, 70 years, more than 70 years, right? So what are we doing here? How long are they going to be guilty? The same if they come and say, well, that group is guilty. Okay, now we have to we change, as I said, family, religion. Look at Poland, what Poland did. Look at Hungary did, and they got penalized by Brussels because they now want certain kind of ideology taught in their children in schools, and they said, no, that cannot. We are Hungarians, we are Catholic, we have our traditions. Well, we're not going to give you funds, said Brussels with their whole, international banking system over there. And what are they going to do? You have to be on your own feet. Otherwise, what are you going to do? So maybe about that kind of moral, according to their values and their traditions and culture, that could be a moral cleansing. But how is that going to be? Do you think that the Russians, first, Russia doesn't have the power to conquer Europe. So put that aside. It's a childish idea. They don't have the power. I'm talking about conventional power. I'm not talking about mutual destruction. That would not be a winner over there. We're both losing, all of them losing. So that does not have the power. So when they say, well, we're going to take Poland, we're going to take this, and why? So you grab 40 million Poles almost of hating you, and then almost 40 million Ukrainians, now not no more. Yeah, you got 80 million, that's half of more than half of your population hating you. Are you crazy? Why would you do that? Oh, you're going to set up camps or something? I mean, please. And in the meantime, you got the Anglo-Saxon tribe is going to invade Russia and is going to block them. It's impossibility. And not even 1% option on this, leave alone success. So I think they talk about the morality of a cultural bankruptcy that Putin was talking about this for a few years or right now. And he was criticized by the West because, he says that a man is a man, a woman is a woman. So Putin was, according to Putin, then he was, shamed for that and so on. So that's what he said. That's what he believes. That's what he's gonna impose there. That's I guess that's their culture. So we'll see. And the same with Belarus, the same ideology. So probably it's a fight between that kind of culture and emerging culture that Lukashenko thinks that needs to be cleansed. But how are they going to cleanse it? How? You can't do it with propaganda. You can't do it militarily. How are you going to take over? I don't know. Definitely not militarily. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.